My name is Radka Šustrová. I'm a social historian working at the University of Vienna, and I'm researching my new project on workers' agency and social justice in the age of authoritarianism from 1930s to 1980s in Austria and Czechoslovakia. Well, I grew up in Liberec, close to the German border, and which probably is not so important for my interest in history, but the family history, family memory sparks my interest in doing or conducting history as a professional. It means that my great-grandfather was executed during the Nazi occupation, and I kept like a cardboard luggage he made in the prison, and that was full of various documents, letters and correspondence between family and occupational institutions and administration. So I was really fascinated about this communication and what is happening during the war. So that was like the milestone in my thinking about learning and researching history. I try to tell the completely different story what we know so far from our colleagues, all the historians, because I realized that there are substantial continuities in social policies and social welfare in Bohemian lands, and also that and it was officially provided towards the majority of population living in the Bohemian lands, which means Gentile Czechs and Germans. So the majority non-Jewish, non-Roma population received benefits and support from the protectorate. And also these organizational things, how this welfare was organized, was along the ethnic lines, which means that it was very much communicated in very nationalistic language. I claim that there was suggested that in this dissertation that this social welfare was very much straightened through very national language, national rhetoric, and it also went into the direction to strengthening national Czech nationalism during the Nazi occupation. Well, gender equality and women's emancipation always played a role in the 20th century. But I would suggest that it's not like a state of affairs; it's a process establishing gender equality. We can see during the 20th century that there are a lot of policies, pro-emancipation policies, but which are established from above. But this is one side of these things. But there is also the practice. So we can see that not always what is established is really also done in the practice. So I can see that this equality, gender equality, or gender order is something what not really tells us what is happening in practice. So we can always very often say that state social Czechoslovakia was very pro-emancipatory, but on the other side, the practice in the workplace, for instance, was completely different. I think the biggest difference between democratic and authoritarian totalitarian regimes are that authoritarian regimes trying to apply like a criteria who can receive those benefits, including equality in the workplace, but also benefits like social benefits. And for authoritarian regimes, it's always like a criteria of race, nationality, and also class or social class, and also gender sometimes. So we can see that democratic regimes offer a little bit more space to achieve this equality, and authoritarian regimes try to apply this criteria. But still, there are some space to achieve this social equality or social justice. So I think we can see mostly these like a continuity and try to find out the nuances and differences in the practice cultural. simply say I go to the archive and I try to find out the stories about the people, how they try to achieve what they thought was social justice. So there are various cases. I cannot say that people were just or they were right in particular situation, but I can see what kind of languages and strategies they used to achieve this social justice, even though there was a National Socialist government, there was communist government, there was democratic government in post-war Austria. So there are various situations, and I see this connection between people's behavior or initiatives and general rules that were established from above, from the government. I go physically to the archives and because they are not digitalized, so I really need to go there. It's not like an option to do it. And well, I prefer to go to the archive because I always make a notes, and it gives me a little bit more like a broader picture. I see the documents. The core of the research is still like related to Habsburg monarchy. There is very much focus on Ständestaat, this very Austrian fascist state in the 1930s. But there is a quite difficult times, National Socialism and post-war Austria. And I think that Austrians and Czechs were very similar approach to Nazi period, which means that it's not our time, it's something what Germans are responsible for. So we are not really dealing with this period critically, it's not ours. And post-war Austrian Republic, I think it's not the point of the research. I think if you have a look into in the libraries, there is some books about that, but it's not really substantial. And I was really stuck how much research is on welfare state and quite crucial issues related to the post-war Austrian Republic. I'm in Austria because I started conduct researching Austrian history, and so it makes sense to move to Austria, of course. And it's also good to have a broader perspective about research on Czechoslovakia. So I think it's very good to have at least two countries, or most maybe Central Europe at least. I have to say that Austria or Vienna, generally, it's an amazing place to live, definitely, because you have a lot of very big support for families with children. You have a lot of nice cultural places, concerts, and everything. But also, I have to say, if I compare, working in Czech Republic and Austria, if I can say, conducting research in Czech Republic, it's almost like a luxury because the approaching archives and availability of archival documents is much easier in Czech Republic than Austria. So and also when I compare a state of historiography, especially post-Second World War historiography, post-Second World War histories, Czech historiography is very much advanced in comparison to Austrian one. I think there is a definite difference between the UK and continental Europe, and I have had the privilege to work at the Cambridge University. So I think it's quite a special place next to the Oxford, for instance. But what is maybe the biggest difference that if you have an affiliation to the college, which is a part of this, part of the university life, and this is mostly where the people work and live. You can meet scientists from various fields at the same table, and you can talk about various things. And it's not really happening that you can working in the Czech Republic or Austria or maybe Germany, and you can meet physicists or someone who is dealing with a psychologist and who is really great expert in this field, and you can discuss with them various questions. So, and I felt that the scientists there in Cambridge, they are mostly more equal, let's say, than scientists in the Czech Republic, because we see that natural scientists is a little bit more important, let's say, according to how people maybe see and understand science in general. So, yeah, I think that's a quite big difference. It's about how the sciences and scientists are organized. And at Cambridge and at Oxford, the people have places or possibilities to meet, even though they are not really colleagues in the same laboratory or in the same office. And in the Czech Republic, we are really working in our field in the humanities, which is, like a quite broad area, but still I don't have much time to or opportunity to meet other people from other fields. They have a lot of in common, and there are, Academy of Sciences in both countries, which is quite very old-fashioned institution. And I also feel that both countries, both institutions are a little bit quite, closed in terms that, they really prefer to speak their own language, Czech or German. And this English-speaking science, it's not really fitting to these old-fashioned institutions. So I think there are some definitely continental, Central European similarities. Well, I used German at the university. At our RedSet, like a research center, it's English-speaking center, so we can speak English. But if I need to approach my colleagues at the university, I need to speak German. If I want to go to the restaurant, I need to speak German. And if I have to communicate with the financial institutions, I also have to speak German, of course. I started my current research when I moved to Vienna, so it's almost 2 years ago. And my plan is to think about this project more broadly, and research on workplace justice, social justice in the workplace, make a little bit more European and comparative. And it's my next step. I think to stay focused. My experience with my students in Prague and also in Cambridge, because I got some students also in Cambridge, was that they are not really focused on what they need to do, and there are so many things you can enjoy in life. And if you really focus on your research and you have a research question you want to follow, I think that's the way to go. And I think that's passion. I think you have to be really enjoying what you are doing. So you have to like and love the research and your research topic, of course.